Jordan Dunn is a senior at Truman State University, majoring in history.
My ancestors have been on the land for 8 generations. We came from Ohio and settled in this area.
He didn't have to travel far to find a piece of history that could have taken place in his backyard near Bible Grove, Missouri.
In this area, in the whole northeast area of Missouri, there was people who were pro-slavery and pro-Confederate, and those that were still sticking with the Union.
The Battle of Vassar Hill only took about 2 hours.
It was between about 280 Union members and about 150 Confederate soldiers. And what happened is they had been in Memphis, Missouri, just north of here, and the Confederate soldiers had gone and raided the Union armory there and had a bunch of their weapons and stuff there. And so the Union soldiers decided to take after them. They were headed from Memphis to Kirksville. When they got to this area, Confederate soldiers had basically set up an ambush on a hill like this, overlooking the river, which is the Fabius River behind me. They just waited for the Union soldiers to cross the river. Once they did, they went through with their ambush.
While the history of what happened is mostly agreed on, it's where it took place that remains a mystery.
The bullets that he did find were down on this bottom, pretty near the road over here.
Dunn interned this summer at the Missouri Civil War Museum in St. Louis. The Gateway Metal Detecting Club of St. Louis searched the area of Dunn's family farm in August.
When the detecting club came up, we were actually trying to figure out, actually pinpoint where the battle actually was. We're not sure. All we know is that they followed the road that was there at the time and crossed the river, and that the Vassar Hill was in this area, either like this hill, the hill next to us.
150 years after the battle, there's little to show it ever happened.
In the past, there's been a couple people with metal detectors that have come, and usually they find like a handful of bullets or like the straps that would have been on the horses or stuff like that. But that we haven't found like a huge conglomerate of artifacts, so we are not sure. We've only found like stuff on the fringes.
Dunn said while his ancestors didn't fight for a side, they were still part of the war.
They had taken their casualties, but there was a bunch of horses that had been shot, and so he actually was responsible for burying them. It made it pretty interesting that one of my ancestors was actually involved, even though he wasn't directly involved in it. He still was there at the time.
The Confederates won the Battle of Vassar Hill, but lost the war. For Dunn, he's still trying to find the pieces of the battle as we all look to the future.
I just think that the Civil War has influenced our American lives, even though we're 150 years since then. It's still one of the big influential events that has happened in the past for Americans.